Nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. During 1 year, this equates to more than 10 million women and men. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have been victims of some form of physical abuse. Nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. During 1 year, this equates to more than 10 million women and men. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have been victims of some form of physical violence by an intimate partner within their lifetime. That's from the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. In the NFL, the number is brought to life for all the world to see. Players live above the law. An average person who conducts themselves in such a fashion like this would be sentenced to prison. Not only do we need to end domestic violence, we need the NFL to make punishments equal for all. There are many NFL players who've had domestic violence charges brought up against them. Some cases have been dropped, some players have been suspended, and fewer players have been convicted of these crimes. Here are some examples. August 13th, 2006. Tennessee Titans defensive tackle Randy Starks missed the Tennessee Titans exhibition opener Sunday night after turning himself in following a charge that he assaulted his fiancée. A police report said that the woman lost some fingernails in the scuffle and had her head banged against the wall. Starks received a 0-game suspension. July 17th, 2012. Dallas Cowboys wide receiver Dez Bryant was arrested Monday on a misdemeanor domestic violence charge. Bryant, in an argument with his half-brother, wound up pushing his mother Angela. Bryant was charged with a Class A misdemeanor for assaulting a female family member. He received a 2-game suspension. February 15th, 2014. Ray Rice and his then-fiancée, Janae Palmer, were arrested and charged with assault after a physical altercation at the Revel Casino in Atlantic City. A grand jury indicted Rice with third-degree aggravated assault with a possible jail sentence of 3 to 5 years. Rice served no jail time. The NFL initially gave Rice a 2-game suspension, but then was later extended to season-long. Lastly, July 9th, 2015. Prosecutors in California have charged former San Francisco 49ers defensive tackle Ray McDonald with domestic violence. McDonald hit his then-pregnant girlfriend. If convicted, he could be sentenced up to 3 years in prison. McDonald served a 6-game suspension and was never re-signed by any NFL team. All stories came from the NFL Network. The NFL Personal Conduct Policy was reviewed and rewritten by the NFL following the Ray McDonald incident. The NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell came out to saying that the policy is flawed and will be reviewed. Days later, this is what the NFL came up with. I will read directly from the NFL Personal Conduct Policy disciplinary action. A first offense will subject the offender to a baseline suspension without pay of 6 games, with consideration given to any aggravating factors. The presence of possible aggravating factors may warrant a longer suspension. Possible aggravating factors include, but are not limited to, a prior violation of the NFL Personal Conduct Policy, a similar misconduct before joining the NFL, violence involving a weapon, choking, repeated striking, or when an act is committed against a particularly vulnerable group, such as a child, pregnant woman, elderly person, or where the act is committed in the presence of a child. A second offense will result in the banishment from the NFL. An individual who has been banished may petition for a reinstatement after 1 year, but there's no presumption or assurance that the petition will be granted. Domestic violence is a prominent issue in our society today. The NFL is attempting to right some wrongs, especially as of recently. Just last month, former Giants kicker Josh Brown was the first to be affected by the new NFL Personal Conduct Policy. Brown was released by the team while accusations of him hitting his wife arose. Once the details came out that he in fact was guilty, the NFL gave him a 6-game suspension. Even though Brown is a free agent and able to sign with any team, the likelihood of this happening is slim to none, and he may never work in the NFL again. This is the fate of players who commit domestic violence. I do believe the NFL is taking the right steps to ending domestic violence. The NFL is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. And yes, it has been wrong in the past on many of its policies, and the domestic violence policy was one of them. Many players were getting away with many horrible things. Since the adoption of the new personal conduct policy, domestic violence has been on decline in the ranks of the NFL. My call to action is, with this, I believe that if we all stand to end domestic violence, the punishments will be equal for all, leaving little discussion for players living above the law. Once that happens, the ripple-down effect will hit everyone in America, making this country a safer place.